Ladies and gentlemen, today is Friday, April 17th. Thank God it's Pod Day, and welcome to Episode 7 of Can't Stop Playing. I'm your host, Zach Ghost Robo, and joining me, as always, from a galaxy far, far away, is Darth Gabriel.
I always love these intros, by the way. They always make me laugh. And every time that we're going to start, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to laugh. I know Zach's going to say some weird stuff, and I'm not going to laugh. But it always
It's a roll of the dice. You don't really know what you're going to get.
I caught you off guard there.
Surprise.
Yeah, you did
caught you
catch
off
me
guard because you were expecting one kind of intro that we forgot to record, and then you get the second intro.
Yeah,
so.
no, that was good. Darth Gabe, I like that. Somebody send in some fan art with Darth Gabe. Do that.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
We got Darth Gabe, and then with a fresh haircut that is worthy of the universe of Star Wars, Darth Max.
No, it's Chumax.
Darth Max?
No, it's Chumaxa.
Chumaxa? Okay, there we go.
Wow. Thanks, guys. Don't send in fan art of that, please.
I mean, Clawmax and Chumax can't really be that far.
Yeah, I guess that's a good
difference,
point. Yeah.
the gradation
Right,
there is
here,
not
I
very
got
far.
it. All right, I'm Darth Gabe. That's Chumax, and you can be R2-D-Zac or something like that.
Ooh.
There we go.
Ooh.
R2-D-Zac?
Or Han Zakalo.
Or Zalea?
Ooh, I like that one.
Zalea.
That's for me.
All
There we
right.
go. Perfect. Today, the Star Wars celebration thing is going on. That's why we're kind of all in Star Wars hype mode. Maybe we'll talk about that. But first, a show preview. We've got GTA 5 PC. We've got a lot of Mortal Kombat X, Titan Souls, and then our main event this week is all about DLC microtransactions and when too much is too much. We'll wrap things up with some Hype City and your feedback, but we also have a lightning round squeezed in there by the power of Zeus. Starting things off, what do you guys think of the new trailer?
Star Wars, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It looks
The
amazing.
only relevant trailer.
Not Batman versus Superman. Not the
Well,
not the teaser
that's
to
a
the teaser.
teaser.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a teaser.
Well,
for
so I
a
guess
teaser.
so is this kind of, right?
What? No,
No.
No,
but
the
teaser
Batman
was
is a
like
teaser for a
30
teaser.
seconds.
Yeah.
What does a teaser of a teaser look like? An image?
Yeah. Well, no, it's the Batman, the suit.
No. Batman is a teaser for a trailer. Because the thing that's coming out for Batman is going to be a full-on, 4-minute trailer.
Is it? Have they confirmed that? Because I thought it was going to be
It's
a teaser.
going to be a trailer. Yes, it's going to be a trailer. It's going to be something in the vein of what we saw with Star Wars.
Okay. With the Star Wars trailer is great. We just saw it right now. We saw the face of evil, the bad guy this time around. He has a name.
RoboCop.
It's not RoboCop.
Yeah.
I gotta say that the
RoboCop.
new, dark evil troopers look more menacing than the villain's mask.
The chrome ones? Yeah.
Yeah.
They look like the chrome Xbox 360 controller from the Star Wars bundle.
Yeah, they
Yeah, there
look
you
like
go.
a character that I'd like to play as in Battlefront.
Yeah.
Which we will, we have seen at this point. What do you guys think of Battlefront?
What? We haven't seen Battlefront.
As of this podcast launch, we have.
Oh, well, stay tuned for a bonus episode for that.
Yeah, because we haven't seen it. The only thing we have seen is a character model for Clone Trooper.
I just hope we get actual gameplay. We'll know by now. People will know, but I hope it's gameplay and not just like a CG thing of
I
stormtroopers running
strongly
around.
believe that we are getting gameplay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be gameplay because of where it's being revealed.
True.
You know, I just don't think that, even though I guess, honestly, at the Star Wars celebration, if you just said, Star Wars Battlefront, oh my god!
Right.
That would probably be enough, but I'm guessing we're going to get some gameplay. Or, I'm guessing we have some gameplay, and it looked great.
It was so good.
Yeah.
I really like that part where they called in the Star Destroyer and it crashed in and killed the other team like a nuke from Call of Duty, but Star
I really
Destroyer.
liked when they had the lasers.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a cool part.
I really liked when Chewbacca was a kill streak, and then he just came and Ant-Man shot him with his gun. He turned giant, and he just stepped on everyone. That was my favorite part.
Wow.
Marvel Star Wars crossover.
already.
Yeah, why not?
Disney is using all their properties to their full advantage now.
Yeah, that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you get that Avatar reference in your Star Wars movie, then you know it's bad news.
Yeah.
That killed the vibe.
Yeah. That's what they call dead air.
I think it's really weird, on the Disney front, that they're putting so much oomph into that Avatar land at Disney World. I mean, I know there's more movies coming, but I feel like that whole franchise kind of just fell off the face of the earth.
Well,
Really?
I mean, it's the most popular movie ever. So.
Yeah, but is that because
It's
of
not
the
the
blue
most
people,
popular.
or is it because
It's
of
the most financially viable? I think
Yeah.
most people don't really like it anymore for some reason.
Yeah, but I mean, for it to be financially viable, a lot of people saw it. Like,
I don't know, I'm just saying, like, what are you going to get your kids excited? Like, hey guys, we're going to the new Avatar park at Disney.
Well, you haven't seen Avatar 2, 3, and 4
4,
yet, right?
yeah,
Like,
I mean,
what if those come
5.
out and they're spectacular?
they're coming.
I just hope they have green people and red people, like the rumor was. Like, there's different colors of the
Different races?
Navi or whatever. Yeah.
That would be cool. I think that would be neat.
All right, it's
And then they
Navi,
could, so
Davi,
it's basically the
and
Green
Bavi.
Lantern movie.
There we go.
Yeah.
Bavi
you
and
go.
Davi are the new races, guys.
You
Confirmed.
got to be careful because James Cameron's going to come after you.
He's
for
gonna throw water
spoiling
at me.
that stuff. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Jimbo. That's
Yeah.
just how me and him get along.
We should just turn this into the Nostradamus cast, where we just predict all things good and holy in the movies and in sports. We could do a betting podcast where we start predicting.
All right, so
Yeah.
how
the
many?
only thing I could talk about is probably soccer.
How many games are the Detroit Lions going to win this year, Zach?
I mean, by
I'm
their
gonna
own
predict
talent level,
4.
probably like 15, but by the refs' talent level, probably like 9, 10.
If that.
I
gonna say
wholeheartedly
4.
believe they could have won the Super Bowl last season if they weren't stopped by that call.
Yeah. I wouldn't
Enough
have,
football talk,
I wouldn't have minded. All right. We talk about video games sometimes, don't we?
Occasionally,
Sometimes,
we do.
very rarely.
And Max almost was unable to talk about video
Yeah,
games thanks to
Exactly. Thanks
some
to
PC
GTA
problems.
5. Well, there was PC problems with both new games.
True.
Yeah, but both
So-
major releases this week had problems on PC.
Yes. Now, in my mind, Mortal Kombat had a little bit more of an excuse to not work. You know what I mean? Because it's a new release and it just came out.
Yeah.
Even though it's still unacceptable. But with GTA, it's been delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. I expected that when I preloaded those 60 gigabytes, by the way, which is ridiculous,
Yeah.
that I would be able to just press play and go into the game. I literally had to troubleshoot for like a good day straight, installing it, reinstalling it. I had to re-download it 3 times. That's 60
60
gigabytes.
gigs 3 times.
Yes.
Good thing your provider doesn't have a bandwidth cap on you. I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't.
Okay, good.
And then I finally got it to work. There's a whole bunch of forums that you could read about like reasons why it doesn't work. Because there's different elements that could not work. Like the
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah. Yeah. There could be like the Play Social or like the GTA Social thing not working. There could be your files not working. It's like a whole bunch of different versions of stuff not working. So I finally got it to work. Once I did, it's ridiculously good looking. Like it's really, it looks awesome on PC. I've only played online. Well, I did the tutorial. Like you have to do the little tutorial and then you can go online. So I've been playing quite a bit online. I am rank 9 right now, so not too high up, but not bad for whatever. Like I got a day and a half to play.
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I'm really surprised by how much customization they give you. Like it's really in depth. And then not only on the gameplay side, but also on like the graphics and everything. Like when you go into like your display features, there's like, you can practically control everything. Like, do you want to have this kind of rendering, what settings on this type of rendering, what settings on the textures for the cars, on the textures for this, for that. It's like, there's like 500 different settings that you could literally mess around with.
So it's a good port.
Yeah. I guess for PC people, like they'll really enjoy the amount of customization you get once you actually get in the game. And then other than that, obviously it's GTA 5. I mean,
For the third time.
It's been out for a while. I'm going to guess it's probably going to do just as well in reviews and everything, if not better.
Yeah.
The only new addition is the new editor, which I messed around a little bit. And it's cool. Like, it's cool because it gives you more, like, control. You know what I mean? Like, where you could do different angles and stuff. And because of that, I guess it would come in handy for people that do, like, montage stuff. I could totally see a lot of people.
Or like machinima videos.
Yeah. Or machinimas. Stuff like that. It would be really, really cool for that. Which GTA has always had a great community for that. And they already have mods, which is really, really cool.
I heard there's some naughty mods out there.
Yes. Yes. There are some, well, then again, the game is pretty naughty as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't like is that, like, it took me a while to figure out, to get used to the controls.
Told you.
GTA has, like, this, like, weird, staticky kind of gameplay. Like, I can't really explain. It's not very smooth. and it doesn't really flow like a typical third person, or even if you go into first person, it's still kind of a little bit janky, you know what I mean? So it took me a little while to get used to how to move in that game.
You're playing with a controller, right?
Yeah, I started with mouse and keyboard, but it's just too difficult. Like the key bindings, I couldn't get used to them, and I don't like to mess around with them. So then I just hooked up my DualShock 4, and it's much better with a controller for me.
Yeah.
So
the highest you didn't even get to do because you're not ranked 11 yet, right? Or unless somebody you were playing with was.
No. I did not play those yet. I've been playing Team Deathmatch. I played just obviously running around. The cool thing is, like, if you pre-ordered, you got 1.5 million. Yeah. So I already bought. I bought a apartment. The one thing that sucks that I didn't know is that if you buy a car and it gets blown up, it doesn't go back in your garage.
Yeah, you got to pay to like get it repaired and stuff.
I don't know how to even repair it. So I spent $375,000 on this truck that I that I really liked, and I can't have it back. And it was ridiculous because I pulled out of my apartment. I was like, nice, I got a good apartment, I got a good car. I drive out, and all of a sudden these guys on a tank pull up, and they just blew me up. And I was like, great, that was a ton of fun.
Was that car ever at one point in your garage?
Yes.
Okay, then you own that car. You can just summon it again and get it repaired and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
I need to figure out how to do that then.
Yeah.
My GTA 5 online limited experience involves me dressing my guy up as Where's Waldo, walking onto the streets, getting shot, and then hitting a load screen and never wanting to play again. Like, I didn't even get to do anything. I was just instantly killed. Like,
yeah,
come on, guys.
That's why you can go into passive mode, which is nice.
True.
Where you can like they can't kill you. And it's really hilarious because I don't know, maybe those players didn't know because they were camping around my apartment house. They kept driving around just killing everyone. I guess a lot of people like spawn there or something.
Yeah.
So then I came out and I was in passive mode, and they were like, I don't know how many bullets they wasted on me because they just kept shooting thinking they were going to take me out, and I was in passive mode so they couldn't do nothing. Fools.
So you like it though?
Yeah, it's fun. The online mode is fun. That's because I've been playing it with friends and such, so I'm enjoying it.
Awesome.
Just the online mode. I didn't play the single player at all. So
how many people do you roll with?
Well, we usually have 4, including myself. But on launch date, we had like 8 people.
All right, so here's a very quick tip. The first heist, you can only do with one other person. So you're gonna have to pick one person that you want to do that with. After that, it's 4. So.
Nice.
Yeah, just don't have 4 people ready to do the first one because it's not gonna happen. So yeah, cool.
Or people are gonna get hurt.
Yeah, awesome. Max?
In other super violent, not working PC games, Mortal Kombat X released this week. I felt the effects of a fatality from taxes as well this week. I'm not sure if you guys experienced that joy. Max, what's the Canadian tax date?
What's the Canadian tax date? I think it's right around the same time. Like, I think we have the end of April. You're supposed to have your taxes done. Yeah. But you can start doing them, like, usually in, like, January, because that's when you have most of your stuff already.
I'm one of those cool people that I got to the post office at 11:32 last night p.m. 28 minutes to postmark it. I got there was nobody there. I swear 50 plus cars came from the time I got there and the time I left. It was insane.
But you see, this is the thing. It's like, why leave it so late?
Lazy.
Zach is a procrastinator. Like that's just him.
Yeah.
Also, like,
get it out of the way as fast as
writing that check was the saddest thing ever. But Mortal Kombat X it's really, really good.
Uncle Sam confirmed DLC for Mortal Kombat X.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, is very surprising because knowing you, Zach, I thought you'd be like, it's too violent. I don't like it.
I think the fatalities are ridiculous. But I cannot ignore the fact that the flow of the game and the speed and just the smoothness is better than I think it's ever been.
That netcode is garbage.
Is it better than Injustice?
It's faster for sure. It moves at a quicker clip than Injustice does. I mean, it borrows a lot of sort of the best parts of Mortal Kombat 9 and Injustice, combining them together. One thing you'll notice right off the bat is they got rid of a lot of the damaging environmental stuff, and it's much more traversal based. And all the characters can utilize the same stuff. So in Injustice, you had the nimble characters and then the heavy characters. Remember, they'd interact with the different levels in a different way. Here, everybody does the same thing, but it's much more to move quicker around the levels. And to me, that just seems to be the name of the game, is like speed. And I love just the flow of the combat. 60 frames per second. It looks great. There never seems to be like a jarring or stilted animation. Online, a little bit different. Me and Gabe were playing.
The netcode is so bad because me and Zach were playing, like he just said, and like I'm not like incredible at Mortal Kombat, but I can at least pull off combos. So I had already played online enough to know that I just can't even try though, because the netcode is just like the lag is so significant that you pressing the button and the character actually doing it, it's not one-to-one.
I mean, significant for someone, I guess, that's like, I didn't notice it really.
Yeah.
But significant if you are trying to do like the actual like, combo type stuff, not just combo like punch and kick, but like 3 or 4 attacks that lead into each other. I didn't take much issue with it, but yeah, it definitely is a little bit on the slow side.
How many characters are in the game?
28.
28. Are they all? Do they feel like different enough from each other, or is there a lot of overlap?
They're all very different from what I've played.
I think that's the strongest point of this game, is they do have the variation system, which we touched on a couple weeks ago, where each character has 3 different forms.
Oh, yeah,
and there's slight adjustments, but they're changed enough that it feels like, okay, I'm going to play this Takeda with this moveset. I'm going to play this Kenshi with this moveset. I'm going to play this Goro. And they're actually tailored in a way that can correlate to your sort of strategy, right? So a good example is Goro, who's the pre-order DLC character. I don't think he's available for purchase yet, which
only
is
pre-order
weird.
DLC.
Yeah,
by the way.
Well, which to clear up very quickly, 28 characters, but Goro makes it 29. So yes.
And then Shinnok makes 3rd.
No. He's part of the 28. He's on there.
6, 12. So there's 25 characters. So 24, and then Goro's 25.
What? No, there's 20.
Okay.
The current roster's 29. I'm looking
No,
at...
Predator, Tanya, Tremor, and Jason, the 4 DLC, will make 29.
Okay, all right.
And those are all... We'll get to that in the DLC stuff, but those are pricey characters, by the way.
Yeah.
We'll
right,
get to...
like $10.
Yeah.
We'll get
we
to
thought
that.
the Evolve stuff. Anyways, but Goro, so like, his one form, he has a dragon breath, and so that's used to sort of clear someone out in close range. But another form has a very extensive ground pound where he can reach someone across the entire stage. So again, you're able to pick a character that you like and then tweak it almost, it feels like custom movesets in a way. So like Scorpion will have ice weapons or he'll have an ice shield. And again, you can see how he still retains 85% of his moveset, but
Wait, Scorpion or
I'm
Sub-Zero?
sorry, Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
He mixes those up all the time.
I do. I say that all the time.
No, that's okay, because I was like, wait, Scorpion took his weapons?
No. Scorpion steals from Sub-Zero in the campaign mode. Yeah, you just got to get to it.
Speaking of, you just brought it up. What'd you think? How many hours you played of campaign mode?
It's shorter this time around.
It's really short.
And it's a weird way that they kind of convey that, because they have the chapters laid out by timeline, like of the cutscenes, I guess it is. And so you see that the cutscene timeline is 2 hours long, which is a lot of cutscenes, but at the same time, when fights take, anywhere from 60 to 120 seconds or whatever, it's not a lot of time. It's been trimmed down. I'm in chapter 9 right now, which seems to be towards the back third of the game, based again on that timeline. It's not gonna like win any, story writing awards, but I think it's the best implementation of a story mode in a fighting game, just like Mortal Kombat 9 was. Like, it's very engaging. They managed to fit all the characters in a compelling way, and they just like hit you one after another with like this guy, and then they go here, and then they go here. It reminds me of the Subspace Emissary mode from Smash Bros., which was, I felt, a huge hit, and sad that they removed that, but with dialogue and with more absurdity, because people are...
Well, that's a good thing, because I think even with like going back to Injustice, I think they started like on a good path, because Injustice was a cool storyline.
Yeah.
Even comic book fans were fans of it, and look, it's still going on as a comic book. Like, they're still writing Injustice as a comic book and an ongoing comic book, so it's kind of cool that I guess they've kind of honed their craft on the storyline side of things, because that's the one thing I was worried about with this game, is the characters like feeling insignificant or like not different enough, I mean, there are definitely some that do feel similar. Gabe, what do you think about the new crew, like the kids, the new generation?
It sort of bugs me, man. I just give me the whatever.
I mean, you get the old guys for the most part, but...
for the most part, but some of them are just
who's
gone.
missing? You get all the important ones. Raiden, Jax, Sonya.
Yeah, but
Liu Kang, is he in it?
He is.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the two new Kung Jin and Takeda are awesome characters.
Takedo, as we call them.
I think that Jackie Briggs and Cassie Cage are
I don't like them.
two of the worst in the game.
Yeah.
And just their design, like their visual design, maybe it's the faces, I don't know, they all kind of just come off as like Muppet Babies versions of
all those
like,
Spec
Mortal
Op
Kombat.
characters are boring. Like, they just
Yeah.
look boring, those Spec Op guys.
I think that they, like, some of the highlights, I think Devora and Melina both look great
There we
in this
go.
game.
That's the bug, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite looking character.
Yeah,
Visually, that's the only character that I would be like, ooh, I want to play as that character. Because everyone else is, to me, I'm like, it's like.
But I do
too
think
crazy.
Takeda and Jin play awesome. Like, Takeda has these chain whips that's like a super cool, almost Soul Calibur-esque type thing. And then Jin with the bow and arrow. And you rock Kenshi, and that looks.
Yeah,
They do manage to maintain a lot of variety, much more so than when the game, debuted years and years ago. Even stuff like the girl characters like Katana and Melina feel insanely different. But they've upped maybe this is just my memory failing me, but I feel like they've upped the spectacle of it. Like, every character seems to be pulling off super moves every move, even if they're not doing a super move. Like, it's one of the most visually appetizing games ever created, I think.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to bring up, like, things that usually bother me in games that this game does don't bother me. Like, quick time events, I hate them for the most part.
Oh, I love them in this
but
game.
Yeah, but this game, they're so cool. Like, that first scene where Scorpion first, this is barely a spoiler. It's the first 5 minutes of the game. Mm-hmm. The Scorpion's very first introduction in the game in the helicopter, like, that's so cool. Like, just that whole scene altogether. And the quick time events, like I said, I usually hate them, but they work for me. Like, that and cool. the cheesiness of the story that would otherwise bother me. Mortal Kombat just seems to pull these things off, and
that is a good point. Like, they managed to somehow not make it terrible, even though it's kind of terrible. Like, the idea that you have all of these like revenant characters coming out of this blood pit and all the flashbacks and flash forwards, but I think it's the pacing of it is really well done. They never stay on something for more than like 5 minutes. The chapters are 15 to 20 minutes long, and a third of that is you fighting, right? Or maybe even more. So you're in like, Outworld with this cast, and then you're over here, and then you have a flashback, and so it jumps around. It kind of appeals to the very like instant gratification senses of modern gaming in a lot of ways, but still touching on, like, again, if you play Injustice or Mortal Kombat 9, you know what this does. And I just think like it's very cool to see a game that started off being so counterculture I think NetherRealm makes some of the most well-polished games on the market, which is pretty awesome.
And the last impressive thing I want to say about the game is there's a lot in this. The tower stuff, which, a lot of people...
I've heard some people say that, there's less than in Mortal Kombat 9. Less characters, less story.
There's a lot... Less story, sure. Less characters, I don't know how many characters there was in the other one, but the tower stuff, like, it's interesting. The ones that are, like, changed, I forgot the actual name for those. I don't know if you remember. But there's regular towers, which are just you have 7 fights, 10 fights, 12 fights, whatever. But then there's the one that are changing, and every fight there's a different elemental like effect. Like, you
test your luck.
Yeah, or you're bleeding and you're constantly taking damage during the whole fight, or only one hit, like first person to get hit loses.
And these piggyback off each other, so it gets insane. Yeah. By the time you reach the 7th or 8th floor, you'll have like the floors are made out of fire. You'll have skulls dropping. You'll have power-ups dropping. Everybody will be poisoned. Your supers won't work. Maybe you'll have infinite super meter, and it'll be like for tower floor 6, it'll roll 6 dice, and you get 6 of those abilities.
Yeah.
And it gets to be. I had one where it was like instant and like infinite X-rays, and so the fights were literally over. we had like a quarter health and instant X-rays, so it was like boom, hit the buttons, and it was.
So it's basically like it adds a lot of unpredictability to the whole thing, which is awesome. The other thing I think is worth mentioning, like again, I have not played the game, not really. I'll be honest, I'm not really interested in playing it. It just not because I think it's bad, just because it doesn't interest me that kind of game.
That's fine.
But the one thing I will say is that I think one of the things they do better than going back to like Bloodborne as well is sound design.
Yeah.
Like the way they do all those like punches, like it's so gratifying. Like the sound of the punches sounds so like, yeah, get him. Like, you know what I mean? And then also like some of the stuff they do for like X-rays really makes them gross because of the sound. Like, because I watched a couple of X-rays with no sound or like really low audio, and I was like, oh, it's bad, but not that bad. And then I watched one on a live stream. I don't remember whose, but it was like turned up audio, and it was really, really gross. Like the crunch of the ribs cracking and everything. It was like, oh god. So it really, really adds to the gameplay, the way that they design the sound. So it's really sweet in that regard.
So yeah, man, I'm surprised that everybody's so positive on the game too. Like
it's been reviewing really, really well.
Everybody loves it. They're working on the netcode. That's my one like major gripe. Obviously, like I want to be able to play online with people and like be able to play properly. It's never going to be perfect, but it shouldn't be as bad as it is. And we're playing on Xbox One.
That's a pretty important thing to get right, especially if it is true that they took out a lot of, like, if the single player is pretty short, then I mean, but then again, also it's a fighting game. You should be able to play it against friends.
The one thing that I'll mention before we wrap up the MKX talk is like the faction system is something that they've kind of touted a lot, where you pick a faction and you join, and then it's this persistent online mode where you're completing these challenges for your faction and unlocking new stuff. And to me, like that just, I don't know, it like just sifts right through my experience, and I don't even notice or pay attention to it at all.
It has a cool connection with the mobile game. I've been playing the mobile game a lot. Okay. I like it actually. I just, hate the timeout that I get placed on, and I'm not going to spend money no matter how much they want me to. I remember, I forgot which website it was. It might have been Kotaku that said it takes like $300 real life dollars to buy every character in the mobile version, or like 100 hours either way. But it's ridiculous stuff. But it ties in, and I see what they're trying to do. Even the mobile game did like super, super well. They did say this is the biggest Mortal Kombat ever already, and just already with the.
I think sales are going to be crazy.
Yeah, and there's like 4 million people already playing the mobile version. That is a lot.
And you've got the last gen versions coming out in the summer, and just like I think about Street Fighter, because that's just probably the other biggest fighting property at this time.
The superior one. Let's just
okay. Well, their presentation and game flow is not, because Street Fighter, like the menus, the loading, all of that is garbage compared to how Injustice and Mortal Kombat just get you into the fights, get you out, move around.
I don't know. Did you play Street Fighter 4 a lot?
I played a decent amount, and the further iterations, and just like
Street Fighter 4 Ultra HD Remix
Arcade Edition.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I prefer Street Fighter, so I mean, that's that. But hopefully with Street Fighter 5, which I don't think is coming this year, right?
Oh, it is.
Oh, it's this year.
Yeah, PS4 exclusive.
Did they say that it was coming this year though?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I know it's a PlayStation exclusive, but I don't know if it's this year or
coming out this year.
I
honestly think that Mortal Kombat will do better than Street Fighter.
I think it's way more accessible. Like, talking to people who maybe aren't into fighting games.
About accessible, I'm not sure.
Really?
Because of the over drastic gore and everything.
Okay, I'm talking about like the straight up fighting. Mortal Kombat X, you can jump into and have a better time, I feel.
Oh, you mean just like gameplay? Yeah.
Yeah, like if you're like not setting aside the extreme mature rating, like if you're just not a fighting game, aficionado, and you want to play one, I think MKX you can jump into almost as easily as Smash Brothers and still feel really cool about what you're doing. Like, you can make some cool stuff happen on screen without ever looking at the move lists.
You can buy the ability to do something cool on the screen by pressing 2 buttons.
Okay. Street Fighter 5, by the way, has been confirmed for spring of 2016, so you guys were right on that one.
Okay, cool.
We will get back to the DLC shenanigans, but
we'll talk about it more. One thing that I think we do need to, remember about is like, yes, it's not good that the PC version didn't run right away, because I think we just float over that. I do feel like it sucks for people who like pre-ordered it and maybe preloaded it, and then you launch the game and it's not working at all. Like, not just the online, but just
I just don't know how. Like, think about Master Chief, think about GTA. How does that happen? How do they not predict this? Or do they, and they're just like, we have to launch anyways, so oh well.
And we've talked about this at length, so we don't got to get into super detail about it. But it's sad, but it's the state of affairs in 2015 as far as video games go. Like,
that's why you gotta play your Wii U. The game's work
expect that the
time.
game is gonna be broken, and be surprised when it's not. Be pleasantly surprised when stuff works. So that's just how it is, unfortunately. Or go play Titan Souls. Titan Souls work perfectly.
Tell us about this game. $14.99, PlayStation 4. Is it on Vita too?
I don't know. It's on PC, which is what
it has cross save, but I don't know what you're crossing to.
Yeah, well, it must be then.
Yeah, it has to be.
If
Vita,
it's a cross save, then it has to be. Otherwise, what are you crossing to? The PC
PS3?
version? I don't know.
Is it?
I don't know if it's on Vita.
Yeah, it is Vita.
Okay, good.
Yep.
All right. I played it on PC. Zach, did you play it at all?
I played it. I played later bosses at PAX East, so I have that touchstone, and then I played it again the first set on PS4.
Yeah. That first set of bosses, it does a very good job of explaining what the game is without explaining what the game is. Like, you start, and gameplay showing in the background. I was about to... I don't know... You start the game, right, and it only gives you 2 prompts of what you do, of what you can do. It says you can roll with this button, you can shoot with this button, and that's it. You can call back your arrow and all that, but they never explicitly say it. But those first set of bosses, which is 4, I believe, right? It's 4? That
There's
first
1 and then 3, right?
Yeah, so, okay. It's 4. They're so different, and the way that you have to tackle each one of those boss fights is very, very different. And you said this last week, and I don't know how right you were. You said that some bosses take more than 1 hit.
Well, I mean, we talked about the fact that 1 hit, like when you get him down, but like take the very first boss, the jelly blob.
Oh, the
thing.
jelly. Okay.
Like you have to hit him way more than 1 time before you can expose his heart, and then he's a 1-hit kill. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I like the game a lot, man. It's super cool. It's hard though. Like some of those,
it's definitely punishing, but they get the key thing right, which is instant reload. Like you're instantly back where you need to be. One thing I will say about it is I feel like they kind of, or maybe this was just me, I read into the trailers as there would be more outside of the boss rooms, and there really isn't. And it's just like boss rooms and walking.
That's the main downside to this. Like the world is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it sounds nice, the music is super soothing at times, at other times it's very dramatic, but it's very reminiscent of Zelda for me. A Link to the Past, especially some of those water areas, the water looks a lot like a Link to the Past water for some reason.
Yeah, it's a similar camera angle and everything.
Yeah, I think the mechanic that they, like, the unique mechanic is that, to be clear, you're not using a sword here, you're not using a gun, you're using an arrow, and the difference here is when you shoot that arrow out, you're locked in place, and then when you call it back, you're also locked in place. So you'll shoot the arrow out with the square button on PlayStation 4, and then you have to hold square to call it back to you. And as
you could do it with any button, by the way.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
they teach you with square. Anyways, you call it back, and it sort of like zooms the screen and kind of like darkens the edges.
Slows down time.
Calls it back to you, but you're like locked in place. So where this comes into play is you're like avoiding, say, that first boss who's jelly blob jumping around, and you're locked in place. So he'll be jumping towards you as you're calling the arrow back. So maybe you call it back halfway, move closer to it, call it back more, and that's kind of, I think, the...
Did you do this? In that specific boss, when you're calling the arrow back and you hit that jelly...
Right, it counts.
Yeah, it still counts as a hit,
so it's like
even though you're calling it back.
Boomer arrow kind of type thing, because you can't hit things on the way back. But that's sort of where a lot of the tension comes in, is that you're not just firing projectile after projectile. You have one arrow, you shoot it out, and as far as I know, there's zero change in your arsenal throughout the game, right? You're going to be...
Yeah, as far as I know, too. I haven't gone like super far. I'm a little bit further than you, but there's been no change whatsoever. After every boss fight, there's a super cool like little animation where all these souls are going around, and it seems like it looks like you're powered up somehow.
I just think that's sort of the thing that betrays the game almost, is you expect there to be like almost like a Dark Souls, like either exploration or leveling up or something, and I just look at the game and I'm like, I really like this. I think it's really well made. But why is this $15 when, like, I feel a few years ago I would have played something like this in a browser for free? Like, boss rooms and an arrow.
I don't know if it's like I don't think it could ever be a browser game. Like, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on here. First of all, I don't know if you know, I don't know how many bosses there is. Like, it could be like a big, huge game. Some of the areas, they're like quite expansive, but there's nothing to do in them. And that's what we were trying to touch upon earlier. Like, I wish there was something to do in between these boss fights. Like, yes, the boss fights are super awesome, and they're super satisfying when you finish them. But in between there, like, yeah, you're looking at new areas, and they look and sound interesting, but there's nothing there, unfortunately. And I wish there was. But the game's still super neat.
What is the other game that this is really reminiscent of? It's made by, it's another roguelike type thing. I want to say, like, Deep or Deep...
Yeah, this is the problem we get to, right? Like, we talked about this a couple weeks back.
There's another game that isn't it made by? Is it made by Cappy Games? Is that who it's made by? Their new game, and it's very similar style.
Yeah, Cappy's new game is Deep, I believe. That's the name
Below,
of it.
below.
Below. Yeah.
Okay, now
Blah, 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 blah.
to me, I've played both of them, and like I wish they would fuse because Titan Souls has far more satisfying combat, and Below has a far more satisfying world / experience of like doing more stuff.
Yeah, I wish there was more to it, but I will say what I've played, which is, first 4 bosses plus like a little bit of the area after. I've seen 2 other bosses, but I didn't beat them. Having a good time. Now I'm going to go back and keep playing it.
Having a good time.
I can't say whether it's worth the $15 or not because I don't know how much is there. If the bosses just keep changing and the areas are so much more different, and maybe there is an upgrade down the line. I don't know. I haven't seen trailers. I haven't looked at any more gameplay. I don't know, so I can't make that judgment. But based off what I've played, I don't regret buying it. So,
how many hours are you in? Are you like far into it or?
No.
Oh.
Maybe 2 hours. If that.
It looks like there are. Gosh, I'm gonna count. I guess I'll get back to it later. But it looks like there's approximately 15 bosses.
Oh, really? And I already beat like 5.
Well, I mean, technically, if you get the right strategy, you can knock these guys out in like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a speedrun type dream game, right?
Absolutely, then.
So I don't. Obviously, you're going to be dying a ton, and that's kind of what they count on. But there are 2 bosses in the final area. There are 4 bosses in the other 3 areas, so 14, I think.
Okay. Well, no, because on one area there's 2 for sure. Because I'm in that one area that has 2
Okay, then maybe
bosses.
it's 16.
Either way,
whatever.
As long as the bosses are all different, which they have been so far. Like none of the bosses that I've fought yet are like similar to each other. You have to use a different strategy for each of them, and as long as they maintain that, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I guess I think it's really well done. My concern is just you talk value proposition, and if you're really good at this game, I mean, like Bloodborne, even if you're really good at Bloodborne, there's still so much content there. You can't like cheap your way through in the 2 hours or whatever.
You can do it in 45 minutes.
Okay, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna get a big game out of it here.
Yeah, I fully know what you're saying, and I agree.
Were you frustrated by the deaths? Like, I think that's something important. Like, did dying in this game upset you, or did you want to go back for more? Because there is no you don't lose anything. It's not like Bloodborne or Dark Souls where you like backtrack.
It's frustrating sometimes that like I feel like I'm aiming the arrow in the right direction, but the arrow seems like it's kind of going like just a tad bit to like the right or the left per se. And I was like, man, I felt like I was really, really aiming that where it was meant to go, and it just didn't go there. And then I would die because of it. And it's a little frustrating, but you get the same type of satisfaction as you do in Bloodborne. Not to the same scale, obviously.
I was going to say I think it's real different because here I go in and I'm like, if I screw up, like whatever. Like I'll go and like I don't think I'm going to beat him, roll into him, die, and respawn because there's nothing on the line really. So I feel like your focus is different.
What I mean by not the same scale is that basically what you just said. Like there's nothing on the line, right? But being killed by a boss like 10 times and then finally beating him, it's still some sense of satisfaction.
True. That part, absolutely.
Yeah, that's more what I was getting at. Obviously, there is nothing on the line. You die, you go back, you walk 5 seconds, and you're right back at the boss.
I think that's one of the most interesting, like, new ideas from the last 5-10 years is, like, frustration as a desire to, like, move forward. So Bloodborne succeeds because you get frustrated, and if there was nothing on the line, I feel like that game, Bloodborne or Dark Souls, would be far less exciting. At the same time, though, you're like banking on frustration being the push forward. And I've heard some people say they totally don't get that, and why would you want a game to intentionally be out to like piss you off? I think it's just will they find a way to make it so it's fun, but you still have something on the line at some point?
I compare this a lot to Axiom Verge. Like, it's hard, yes. Axiom Verge gets really hard in some places, but it's always fair, and it's never frustrating. I've never been frustrated with Titan Souls or Axiom Verge. I have, at times, been frustrated with Bloodborne. Like, when I didn't know how to play the game all that much, and I had to fight Father, whatever we ended up calling him.
Gascoigne.
Yeah, like he that was frustrating. Here I never felt that frustration, but neat little game. $15 doesn't seem like that high a price to me. Maybe for some people it is. If you think it is, wait, it'll go on sale. There was a discount if you pre-ordered it with PS Plus and
like $13.50.
Yeah, it's on Good Old Games as well, and I believe it's on sale over there, DRM free. You can share with your friends, stuff like that. But yeah, fun little game.
That is this week in games. Let's move to our lightning round before we get to DLC and all of that disgustingness. 3 rounds of numbers today. That's going to be our focus for the lightning round. Max and Gabe, as usual, do not know the questions at hand, so we're going to pick their brains.
Here we go.
Right, fresh.
Hold on to your hats.
Good. Hold on to your hats, everyone.
Hold on to your hats.
All right, so question number 1. The Witcher 3 just went gold here.
Okay.
And for round 1, you are tasked with the difficult choice between which game sells better. Witcher 3 being pimped as like the big AAA game of the first half of this year, or Dying Light, which was kind of the surprise mid-tier game that sold a lot.
1 month?
Let's say, yeah, the first 3 months, first 3 months.
Okay,
Obviously, Dying Light has a huge
quarter.
advantage, but just which game, pushes more. Or you could even say Lifetime. I'd be fine with that, too.
Okay. So it's just between those two?
Yeah. Okay.
Dying Light or Witcher 3. Or we can just say let's just say in 2015. In 2015, give Dying Light a couple month advantage.
I say The Witcher.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think The Witcher because, it has a huge install base on PC, so I'm sure.
I mean, so did Dying Light.
But I think it'll do substantially better.
I think it'll do a lot better,
Yeah.
but just because it's already a known franchise, people are hyping it up as this, big, this is what a next generation RPG
I hope
is going
it's
to
a
be.
gem.
Yeah, it may
Yeah,
be.
so
that's the one thing is like we don't know. Like it could be a case of where it comes out and it's just utterly terrible.
I don't think so.
Well, I know, but there have been situations where we think the game is one thing, and then when it comes out, it's a whole nother story. So it's like if there's any unforeseen circumstances, like without, like let's say the game being completely awful, like even if it's like an 8, I still think it will sell way better.
To give you a little perspective here, The Witcher 2, which was released on PC and 360 back in 2011.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not looking it up. I'm going off of memory.
It sold, so gosh, now this is going to matter. The launch date, because it was a staggered launch, but the initial launch date was May 17th, 2011, and by May of 2012, so 1 year, that game sold 1.7 million copies on 2 platforms. So now Witcher 3 is 3 platforms and has a little bit more hype, but see, for me, I don't think The Witcher 3 has as much public awareness as people us involved in gaming think it does. And so I'm going to say Dying Light ends up getting more sales because I think on the box, on the shelf, that is a easier sell for people than The Witcher 3, this 120-hour massive RPG. And it's a third game, which I don't know if that has any turn-off value.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But I think that generally speaking, it's got a substantial enough core PC user base that will probably be at right around 1 million, and then add the other 2 consoles, I think.
In a year, somebody write us in and let us know that me and Max were right and that Zach was wrong.
That's always the debate. We'll do it again in round 2, though. Another numbers question.
Here we go.
Star Wars Battlefront 3 is next gen only and releasing this year confirmed. How close do those sales numbers get with the hype of the movie, the hype of the return of Battlefront? How close does that game sell to Call of Duty Black Ops 3?
Not close at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Well,
Same
Call of Duty
platforms.
sales have been going down, right?
Yes, they have. But
You don't think the Star Wars name carries
I think.
that product?
All right, so what's close then? Is getting within 2 million copies close?
No.
That's my point. I don't think it gets within 2 million copies.
I mean,
Wait. Within 2 million copies apart, or it does 2 million copies?
No, all right, so let's say Call of Duty sells 4 million.
Okay.
I don't think Battlefield sells 2.
I think Battlefield sells 2, for sure.
Well, no,
sorry, Battlefront.
I'm saying, yeah, sure. But then Call of Duty doesn't sell more than 4. It always sells more than 4, right?
I don't know, but the sales have been going down. I know that. So,
yeah, I just don't know how steady it is. I just think that Black Ops 3 is going to be this big juggernaut again. Treyarch coming back. People love Treyarch Call of Duty games.
I mean, to keep it in perspective, Advanced Warfare sold 27% below Ghost in the U.S. in last year. How
many units is that?
I think that Battlefront will do over 2 million for sure.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
How many units did Advanced Warfare sell? Zach, any idea?
I mean, Advanced Warfare was still a top-selling game of 2014, even at 27% below Ghosts. I don't know if they've given a specific figure.
They had to have given something.
Yeah, I don't know. The question is kind of vague because it's like, what is close? You know what I mean? Like, what is it? Like 30%, 40%?
I guess I just
10%?
meant like in a general sense. Like, is it like, okay, Call of Duty sells 10 million, Battlefront sells 1.2, or is it like, we've got 8 million Black Ops 3 sales and 6 million Battlefront? Like, are they close enough that EA feels like it's they're going head to head basically? Yeah.
I hope they don't treat it as a competitor because I think it's very different games. But if they do decide, then I think that will be actually detrimental to the game. Because if they are positioning Battlefront to be a competitor to Call of Duty, I think that's not the right strategy because they have Battlefield to do that. So
yeah,
but there is no Battlefield game this year. So the two big shooters.
It just happened. What are you
well, they just had Hardline.
Yeah,
so.
no, but multiplayer holiday advertising is going to be Battlefront versus Call of Duty. Halo will do the Xbox thing, and then I mean this is EA's game for the fall.
Yeah, but well, for now we don't know if there's anything else, right? There may be other announcements, but I don't know. I really would not want them to position as a competitor because I think it needs to play very differently to.
I think it will play very.
Has it been confirmed a teen rating?
Well, I'm not sure. It depends. You see, like if we're treating this as it's Friday, because they could have confirmed it right now. Like
just more facts and figures. Ghosts in its first 3 months sold 19 million.
Okay, yeah. See, no, then I don't. That was Ghost, right? So let's say
in the first less than that.
Yeah, so let's say in the first 3 months, Advanced Warfare sold like 14 million. Mm-hmm. I don't think in the first 3 months, Battlefront gets anywhere near that. Maybe they sell 2 million in the first 3 months, and that's that. But it seems like they're going to be way off, over 5 million off.
Oh yeah, I think they'll be way off. But I think there's no, as far as we know, like this is the major Star Wars thing to buy when you see the movie, and if we expect,
well. Disney Infinity 3 is going to be a thing.
Okay.
Either way, I don't.
And that will probably be September, if I had to guess. September, October, something like that.
Since this is lightning round, my answer is no. I don't think it gets close. Right. Zach, what do you think?
I'm going to say no, but closer than you're saying.
Okay, Max?
I think they do very, very well.
But
as long
close.
as they... No.
The question... All right, cool. I do think they do very well. I think they sell 2-3 million copies. Why not?
All right, and the final question, final round here is a little bit just Star Wars loving here. Favorite numbered Star Wars movie?
There's only one correct answer. It's Empire Strikes Back, right?
Yeah, that's the easy go-to.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with.
I mean, for
I'd say
reason.
That's just your favorite. I mean, you could have loved Episode 1 when you were a kid if that's what you want to go with.
No,
thank you.
I did like Sebulba.
You could have loved Episode 1, not me.
I had a thing for what's her name? What's her name? Padme?
Painty face.
I think. What did you just call her? Minty face? What?
I said painty face.
Queen Amidala.
Painty face. I thought you said minty face. I'm like, what?
Nah.
Okay, I kind of think of them.
That's what I used to call her when I was a kid. Painty face.
I kind of think of them as sort of a unit, so it's hard for me to divvy it out. Like 4, 5, and 6 especially just roll in my head as one.
Yeah, like a giant thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's how they were meant to be, right? There's a reason why they are shot as like 2 trilogies, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, 1, 2, and 3 feel way more disjointed than 4, 5, 6, don't you think?
Yeah.
But
George Lucas was crazy.
Yeah, they're still meant. At least that's the initial idea.
That's the intention. Yeah. Do you think, okay, since that sort of fell flat, do you think 7 has any chance of topping the original trilogy?
How much of that is just
7?
Like,
you mean 7, 8, 9?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
See, but even if they're amazing, right? Let's just say they're the freaking fantastic. Everybody loves them. People are going to be hesitant to say they're better than your original 3 just because of nostalgia. So.
Yeah, that's a problem. I think that a lot of people would probably have a hard time with even agreeing like that. There's some of the Star Trek movies, like out of the 2 that have come out, are better than a lot of the older ones just because of nostalgia. Where like just people will say, "Oh, it's just it's just modern sci-fi. It's not the same thing." But
So basically what they're saying is these movies are actually good now. Because the new Star Trek movies are good movies.
These movies are built on, in my mind, the story, the narrative of these movies is really not the driving force, in my opinion. I think the driving force of these movies is the ensemble cast and then the worlds. Like, the world that they build is, like, really the appeal of them, right? Like, that you get to just dive into this crazy world with a whole bunch of different species, and there's all this crazy culture and religion, and there's all these different themes, and politics is kind of there as well, in a lot of tones. So I think that's kind of more the appeal than the story. Because I think the story, like we kind of talked about this before the podcast, is really not that stellar for those movies. So because of that, I think that with modern technology, they should be able to do a lot of those elements better. You know, they should be able to do a lot of those elements in a more comprehensive manner. But most of the people who are super nostalgic will just say, well, they should have done it practical. A lot
of this stuff is practical on this new one. So.
But it's still going to be more driven.
Yeah.
Like
I hope the story is good. Like, that's what I would be. I would hope that with 40 years of hindsight, they could make a good. I mean, there's so much material. There's so much hype for this thing.
They're restarting the whole thing, right? Basically everything that's happened between the movies and this movie, they said doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Never happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I just mean that they have a cast of characters and a set of events to sort of build off of, as opposed to, like, we don't need an intro movie again, I assume.
Yeah, but this is going to be an intro movie of the new characters. For sure.
Yeah, I don't think Mark Hamill and Ford come back for the next one. I think they're in this one.
They might come back in like a cameo or something, like a flashback scene or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if that would be the case.
I mean, you're getting a new Star Wars movie every year for the next 6 years, so...
Yeah, we sure are.
Be surprised
Rogue One and whatever the other one...
Yeah, those are going to be standalone movies. They're going to be focused on, like,
I do think that
characters.
But they will all build off each other, I guess. Like, correct? In the sense that these are now... There's 6 movies in this new universe.
Well, no, I think they're all going to be in different, like, times and everything.
Oh,
like,
really?
I think, like, Rogue One and whatever the other one is, I don't think they're going to be happening, like, concurrently or anything like that. It's going to be completely different.
But wouldn't that make more... I mean, you think about the Marvel phenomenon, doesn't that make more sense to have them all kind of...
Sense isn't really a good word to attach to Star Wars a lot of times.
Yeah, okay. And that's what the trilogy is for. I think, like... all these standalone ones are just, that's what they are. They're standalone movies that take place in the Star Wars universe. It doesn't have, some could be in the past and could be in the future and different.
I'm thinking a more intriguing question. Again, sorry to interrupt the lightning round here, Mr. Zach, but I think I almost wonder, what do you guys think? What does better, Star Wars: The Force Awakens or Avengers 2?
Avengers.
Money-wise?
Yeah.
Avengers for sure, hands down.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I think Avengers and the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe is the Star Wars for this generation. Like, it is, especially with Guardians coming out, like, in my opinion, that was, like, almost, like, the best Star Wars movie right there. Like, you know what I mean? If you just replace the characters, reskin them, and there you go. So...
Like, I don't think space holds as much allure as it did.
Tell that to Guardians.
No, I mean, like, Guardians is my favorite Marvel movie. Like, if I wanted... Besides Spider-Man 2. I just think that, like, the idea of these, like, space travels and battles isn't as, like, on the nose right now, or, like, on people's minds as sort of superheroes in New York City duking it out with, like,
so what happens, Zach?
When Infinity War happens.
Yeah, I was about to say that. What happens when the superheroes are in outer space in Infinity War?
Oh, God.
Yeah. Because that's what I think it's kind of I agree with you, but I think it's just a cultural thing. It's just because people aren't really as excited, which is sad about space travel and but I think that's a bad thing, honestly, because it was cool when we were inspired to, like, go
for sure. You just look at kids now, how many want to be astronauts versus 20, 30 years ago.
They all want to be superheroes.
Yeah,
we're gonna have Daredevil,
Spider-Man. No,
they're gonna have.
I don't think anybody wants to be Daredevil.
And Max, we're gonna have kids walking down the street just hoping somebody's about to get run over so they can jump in front of them.
Let's
derail this acid on their face.
Disaster before it happens. We are going to move to the main event. Before we do, I wanted to pull up a iTunes review. That's something we've been talking about for a while. If you guys want to rate and review the show, it's a great way to help us out on iTunes. You go and you click the little buttons, leave us a star review. And if you
let me talk to these people real quick.
Okay, go for it,
guys. I know you guys write in about my beard a lot. My beard needs your help. My beard doesn't just grow on its own. It grows out of your love. Every star that we get, every star means an extra hair grows. So keep those reviews coming, man. Every star, the beard gets crazier. I don't know. Maybe we can write a name in it or something if it gets long enough. I can write.
Gabe, don't do this to yourself.
I'm joking. No, but I'm joking. I just wanted to.
So yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to go download it on iTunes. It really helps us out. If you're listening on iTunes, go check our pretty faces out on YouTube. And you got to see Gabe's beard. You're hearing about it. You got to see what it's about. But FJDKSLEO123
that rolls right off the tongue.
Comes in with a very classy review. 5 stars.
5 stars.
I agree. Okay. These guys kill it every week with no avail. I look forward to new episodes as soon as the one I'm listening to ends. Definitely would recommend it to any and all gamers. Prepare yourself for the ultimate of shenanigans and tomfoolery. Yep, I said it, tomfoolery. Be sure to subscribe to help them out and game on.
Nice.
I like his usage of tomfoolery.
He's got some SAT vocab going on.
And there. Shenanigans. That's an underrated word.
It is.
And when using conjunction, like he just did.
Yeah.
And let it be clear, you don't have to write a positive review. If you feel very strongly about this show, you could get featured as well. We're just looking for quality reviews.
These guys talk about ketchup and milk bags way too much. 1 star. Like, that's
I mean, they wouldn't be lying.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
I mean, hey, we hadn't mentioned it this week until just there. But we're going to take ourselves on a trip to the main event where we talk about DLC. And this was sort of prompted. We were talking midweek about House of Wolves Destiny DLC got announced. There's no raid in that. The cost is still the same. Mortal Kombat has $10 packs that give you 1 character and 3 skins. You know, we don't have to rehash the Evolve nonsense. And just where is this going and where does it stop? Should it stop? Mortal Kombat now lets you pay for fatalities. Is that an issue? Is it not? We had 2 very different opinions from our listeners I wanted to bring up just to kind of start this off. The first one comes in from Jake. And he says, hey guys, why do you think people complain about microtransactions? My brother,
yeah, like why couldn't he just ask us? I don't know why he has to write us in.
This is a different Jake. He says, why do you think people complain about microtransactions so much? If they don't like them, they don't have to buy them. Which that's like one end of the spectrum, right?
Yeah.
And then the other end of the spectrum is from Mason, who says, honestly, I'm so sick to death of microtransactions. I buy a $60 game and then it starts asking me for more money. At the very best, they are purely cosmetic and don't do anything. And at the worst, they break the progression of the game. If anything is going to cause the next video game crash, it's people being tired of being exploited by these big publishers, some of them in single-player games, some of them in multiplayer games. Why does Dead Space 3 have the option to buy gun parts? Why would you pay $2 to get materials you can already get in the campaign? I don't know, and with this generation of kids growing up with Clash of Clans and other cow clicker games, I worry for the game industry. And he goes on to talk about more of it, but that's basically the vibe, like,
yeah.
Is it destroying what we have?
Yeah, and I think you fall under one, and I fall under the other one. I don't know where Max lands on this.
So Max, start us off. Yeah.
I'll judge the whole argument. So we'll present, I guess. I believe, from what I understand, Zach will be arguing for the side that if it's there, you don't have to use it, right?
Yeah.
And then Gabe is going to be representing the side that believes that it's breaking the games, and more importantly, I think the message is that it's a bad pattern in the negative direction.
And that's my thing, because I agree with what he says. Like, it's just skins, it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's cool. But think about it. If nobody had ever figured out that they can exploit us with microtransactions, we'd still be getting those skins, but just as part of the game. Back in the day, we used to have skins and everything for free. And it was just cool to be able to have a little bit more personality in your games. But now, everything is exploitive.
But
I see that
think,
face.
To be fair there, I guess I'll just jump in. I'll kind of try to be like unbiased. Yeah, I'll just mitigate the whole thing. But I feel like, to be fair with that, there's an element of, it's unrealistic to expect that all DLC could have been on the disc.
No, and that's not my point.
Some of it is like post-release just to give you some more value.
Yeah, but when, like, for example, Mortal Kombat just came out. Yes. You can already buy all these skins. The mobile version, like I said earlier, you have to pay $300 to unlock every character. You can buy easy fatalities when you can easily just learn how to do the prompts. And Zach says, what if, you're not good? That's why you practice a little bit. I think it takes away from the integrity of the game. Like, what's the point of being good at, like, practicing a game so much that you become good at it when you can just buy an easy way to do it?
I'll talk on that specifically and then kind of give my general thing. But with the fatalities in Mortal Kombat,
yeah,
there is zero balance impact of those fatalities. They are merely a tool for you to show off at the end of the round. So
Absolutely.
If I play this game and I can't do the fatalities, or I want to guarantee I do them every time, and I pay for it, it impacts nobody else. And you could say, well, they're setting a bad precedent, but until they dive into ruining the game balance, I'm cool with it. And I think if they had, there would be insane backlash right now. If they said, hey, you can buy X-rays, and you can just queue them in whenever you want. Now we're getting into this very dangerous mobile game territory where you can buy super abilities and it gets stupid. But as long as it is side stuff, right? So like imagine, I'm going to take Evolve because it's my favorite game right now. Imagine if your monster could do like a crazy dance at the end. And you could either input this crazy combo or you could pay for it to have like those dance moves queued up. I like the addition of those coins for easy fatalities because it guarantees that I can end my round with that extra oomph. It doesn't impact anything negatively, and we've seen that they have, as we discussed earlier, filled the game with so much stuff. And like, that's where I broaden it out. Like, how can we ever judge how much time a game really took? If a studio has a year to develop it, 5 years, saying, oh, they could have put it on the disc, I don't think that's ever going to be discernible. You'll never really know what they could have put in. And I want to remind people that the video game retail price has not gone up in over a decade. And if you enjoy that $60 price point, then DLC needs to be there. Because if it wasn't there and they didn't have that extra source of income, I think you'd see a push for a $70 price point happening a lot sooner than it will right now. The Evolve skins sell really well. I guarantee the Mortal Kombat skins will sell really well. It's a way for people to optionally support the game in a way that previously wasn't possible. Again, though, costs of games also previously weren't as high. So you can't have your cake, pudding, and your corn dog. You have to decide what you want to pay for. And either you're going to pay for DLC, you're going to pay for more for a game. And again, saying like, oh, they could have fit this in. Evolve could have fit the monster in. Splatoon could have fit the extra levels in. We have no way of ever knowing that. And sure, you could work people till midnight and they could get stuff done. But that's like saying, oh, this TV that I bought last year should have had this year's features if they would have just worked harder. I don't see how you can.
See, and that's not even my argument so much. I don't think, like, I'm not anti-DLC at all. There's some great DLC out there. It's just the way it's done. But when a game is built from the ground up to sell you stuff, like Evolve seems to be, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, they said it is. So there is no doubt about that.
Yeah, like the way the game's present, like, don't build a game to sell me DLC. That's preposterous in my mind. And to the fatality stuff, that's a very specific example to, like you said, it messes with no game balance, and I get that. But you're inputting, 4 buttons, if that, to perform a DLC? You can't just practice it?
But why does that bother? To me, it just sounds like a purist saying, I love Mortal Kombat, I want people to be as good as me.
No, I don't love Mortal Kombat. I like it. And it would be like that with any game. I don't want to, with Street Fighter, to do a super finisher, you pay for that, really? When everybody else is doing the input? Like, I don't know. It just feels tacky. It just feels like, again, I don't know how much integrity Mortal Kombat has, or even video games in general have.
So what DLC are you cool with?
Yeah, because I think that
Left Behind is great. Left Behind is great. The map packs for Call of Duty, I don't mind. Stuff like that.
So, like, tell me why a map pack for Call of Duty in your mind rings okay, but like a Monster and Evolve doesn't.
Because the one monster costs like $15.
Okay.
Here you're getting a whole bunch of maps.
Three maps.
Okay, and additional guns. You get the zombie mode, all for $15.
Okay.
That's just a lot more content.
It's perceived as more.
It is more.
More in what? In terms of megabytes?
It is more content. Because
you already get a different mode. You get extra guns.
But, like, if you look at it straight, I know this is, like, gonna rub people the wrong way, but if you look at straight up the match layout of Evolve and you take one additional monster, technically, I think they're overpriced, but technically you're multiplying the game by a greater degree than adding a map or two in Call of Duty.
And here's my biggest problem with the monster stuff. And I hate to harp on Evolve because I like the game. I really do. But you're spending $15 for a monster. The install base for this game is dying every day. Okay, so 6 months from now, you're not even going to be able to play Evolve. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. It'll be crazy. No, but
realistically speaking, a few months from now, the experience of that game is driven by online. So once the servers go down, that's it.
But like with Evolve, the difference, I think, is that the game is quality enough that there isn't a hardcore. And whether that's 500 people or 15,000 people, I don't think they're going to be like, well, we're turning the lights off in 6 months.
You must not know 2K all that well, because they shut down servers for sports games.
Yeah, but that's because they make a new one every year.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, I guess like, so what people seem to have issue with microtransactions and DLC, but to me it sounds like DLC in terms of like missions or.
But those are two different things, by the way.
Sure they are. Yeah. And that's what I was going to separate.
Is
DLC like,
are very different. I think generally speaking, again, I'm trying to be kind of unbiased because I think it's not good when like there's two people on one side, one person on another. But I
pick a side, Max.
No, I have a side.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
But I just think that generally speaking, I think if it's something that isn't impacting the progress of the game, something that is purely cosmetic, I honestly don't have any issue with it. Because I feel like at that point, you're giving it kind of just to the audience and it's up to you. Like, you want to buy more, but it's just cosmetic stuff, so you're kind of aware of what you're paying for. You know what I mean? So
that's why I've had zero issues with skins in Evolve or in Mortal Kombat.
But
those are perfectly fine.
The problem is, I'm not going to be hypocritical because I did say that I had a problem with Evolve. Because I feel like the amount of content you got right away wasn't enough. If we got more content right away and then they did the skins thing, great.
Yeah.
So I think that it really is, you can't really just say like a blanket statement, okay, this is when DLC is good and then this is when DLC is bad. I think it's more so, what was the initial product, and then what was the post-launch DLC and or microtransaction support for it.
Yeah.
Then that's when you can kind of decide, okay, for a game that has a strong amount of value and is a solid product and can stand on its own initially, and then the DLC package for it is cosmetic or things that, like, for example, with Mortal Kombat fatalities, it doesn't really impact. It doesn't matter. Like, okay, you can do it faster, great. I'm going to press the more complex method of doing it. I think maybe they could have done some sort of cheesy thing, like where when you're using the cheaper input, maybe there's some sort of like jokey animation in there or something like that. Just so that for the players who are more hardcore, they feel like, okay, but I did it the right way, so to speak.
That would have been cool. One other thing that would have been cool, I think, I'm sorry I cut you off there, by the way,
it's okay.
Is that give people that don't want to pay for the easy way to unlock it, give them a way to unlock it in game. Like, don't just say, "Oh, you can pay just to do this." Right?
Like, where does that stop? I mean,
exactly. That's my question.
Well, no, but here's two examples for you. Okay, The Witcher 3 has an incredibly long campaign, so if they sell DLC for that, more missions, it's fine.
Which it leaked, by the way. What the expansion pack
and they are
huge. They have said that they're going to be doing a lot of free DLC for that game already.
Sure. Yes. But maybe that's a bad pick then, since they've already been on the sort of DLC.
And even Evolve, I'd be much cooler with the monster prices if they also gave a free one in between.
Let's just take a game that has a long single player, Dragon Age. Okay, DLC they add DLC there, very well received. Mortal Kombat story mode is only like 4 hours long, so if they add DLC there, it's not okay. They should have added that to the game. I mean, we have an example from Thomas McCoy, who's written in a number of times with some good thoughts, and he compares Call of Duty and Mario Kart 8, saying that in Call of Duty, he's sure that they set back certain maps that would make for a more lucrative DLC pack rather than try to make something to add on to an already complete experience. And he likes Mario Kart 8, where the game already had plenty to offer without the DLC, but the DLC is a nice add-on. Again, to me, that's
so you want to say that Call of Duty is not a complete...
I don't want. This is his thought. I'm just giving.
Don't forget, Mario Kart 8 is literally just that driving.
And so that's
whereas
what I was
going to has a huge campaign, like,
and a third mode usually.
Yeah, and a third mode usually as well. So I think if there's any game that is value, it's Call of Duty. And there's very few games on the market that have more value to offer out of the box.
Sure, and I was going to use that as sort of an example to show that your subjective opinion on a game, I think, dramatically dictates if you feel DLC is fair or not. Because, like, I love Evolve, so I'm hungry for DLC. If you don't think Evolve is worth it, you're not. If you love Call of Duty, then that DLC seems perfectly fair.
See, but
he doesn't like Call of Duty as much, and so it seems like it's a ripoff.
Yeah, but
Mario Kart 8, to me, could be just... Mario Kart 8 is just like Evolve. There's multiplayer, and that's it. And so, it's probably less varied at $60.
But I love Evolve too, and I still think the DLC is outrageous. And it's not like I don't love Evolve.
But I'm not even talking about the price. I'm talking about people have a problem with Evolve because they feel the game was half-baked at launch. Mario Kart 8 technically has less variety, and no one says a word because I feel like Mario Kart 8 is a beloved property.
Yeah,
and so your personal preference then dictates that the DLC is fair. There's
definitely an element of subjectivity, but I think that there's elements like, for example, with I think that what most people have problems with in terms of DLC. I think, first of all, I think it all stems from a fear of what's to come. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing, because human nature, and I think the game industry has kind of taught a lot of hardcore gamers that the worst is yet to come and to expect the worst. So I think that number one is that people kind of are revolting already. They're like, oh, no. If this keeps happening, what is next? Is the next Mortal Kombat going to have X-rays that are easier to prompt, or is there going to be more character exploitation, so on and so forth? So I think that's
or press one button to do a combo, which they do in one of my favorite fighting games, Blaze Blue. You can literally fight by just pushing the right stick. There's a baby mode, basically, but they didn't sell it. So what if Mortal Kombat sells you something like that?
Yeah, I mean, so I think
that's what I don't want.
Yeah, there's an element of fear, and then there's an element of what people see, like, sometimes happening in terms of, like, let's say the newest Pokemon Rumble game, or Brawl, what's it called?
Pokemon Rumble World.
Yeah, right? Like, games like that, that's, I think, where people start, like, getting kind of nervous, because they're nervous of the whole idea of having scenarios where you're paying for something that you used to get, like, a complete experience in, but now it's just going to be segmented, and it's going to be either time-locked or paid, you know, where you're going to be the kind of like mobile model, right? Where it's like, hey, you could wait 2 hours for this thing to occur, or if you give us $1, it's done right now. And you can continue playing.
Which I brought up Mortal Kombat X on mobile earlier. I love playing it. It's fun for me. I'm laying in bed.
But to be fair, it's a free game.
Yeah, it's free, and I would have no problem.
Yeah, so keep in mind that, like, that's, I think, also, you see, this is why there's so many question marks. It's like, there's almost like you have a template before judging the DLC, is the template of the game. Was it free? How much did it cost? How much content was in the game? Then the subjective nature of it, like, oh, did I enjoy personally that world, and would I be okay investing more in it? And so on and so forth, you know? Because I think that all of that impacts the final judgment of the DLC, you know? Because I know that there's a lot of people who could say, for example, I really enjoy the Lego games. And a lot of people could say, well, you know, they did all that DLC. Why didn't they just include all those characters in it? They already did 150 characters as it is. There's a lot of gameplay. There's a lot of exploration. So I always feel like the core experience is already fundamentally good enough. Yeah. And then the DLC just allows you to add a lot of those obscure characters that they typically wouldn't even maybe put in. But now there's a method of getting them.
And I just think that's so spot on, and it's so subjective, because in Mortal Kombat, I could feel like 24 characters is a total ripoff, or I could feel like 24 characters is a ton. And so then you go on, and Mortal Kombat will be interesting to see. The combat pack is $30, and that gets you 4 characters and 12 skins. Or if you buy them individually, I believe they're $10 each. And
the characters. Yes.
But you get a character and 3 skins for $10.
Okay.
And that is, I mean, you look at, again, just trying to make this a fair comparison, Super Smash Bros. Has over 30 characters, and they're charging $5 from Mewtwo. Mortal Kombat has 24 characters, and they're charging $10 for Tremor and Predator. Evolve has 3 monsters, and they charge $15. So again, like, all of this, ultimately we hate higher prices, but I feel like it's so specific to that game and how you're going to dissect the value, because people would say, well, to all of them, like Smash Brothers. So Mewtwo should be less because there's already so many.
I think you see the problem also is then we have to account for something like this. How varied are those characters? That's why I asked, right? Mm-hmm. Because you could have 100. Like, look, in the Lego games, let's be honest, there's so many characters. A lot of them play the same.
Sure.
Yeah.
So then the issue is then it's quantity over quality in that scenario. Whereas with something like Evolve, you have the 3 monsters. Like, the monsters are really, in my opinion, the best part of the game. That's the value of the game.
Yeah.
The hunter packs, on the other hand, I think is where we should have got more variety to begin with.
Yeah.
Because the hunters don't play differently enough.
Yeah,
they don't
we didn't
feel
get the cool
different
hunters
enough.
till they wanted to sell them to us.
Yeah, and then when they want to charge you for the actually varied ones, that's where I have the problem with it. Whereas, like, with the monsters, I think it's a lot more... There's a lot more leeway to explain the value because they are so intricate, they are so different, they are so unique, you know? So you can't explain it.
It is so specific because, again, you could say, well, Mewtwo's $5, that's one character, Behemoth's $15, that's one character, but it's so particular to that game, and I'm surprised, I guess I'll be surprised to see what the reaction to the Mortal Kombat stuff is, because $10 for those characters, you'd think theoretically the more characters you have, the less value each one has, but again, loyalty to property pays a big factor in this as well. Predator, people are going to buy for $10 regardless.
We have to account, though, the other thing we have to worry about with this is also licensing, because they're doing licensed characters. They're doing Predator, Jason, Freddy, right? So it's like, those are licensed properties. So
Freddy is not in this one, right?
No.
Or is Freddy not? Oh, sorry, he was in the last one, wasn't he?
He was on the last one, yeah.
So when you're doing, though, like a license thing, you have to pay a licensing fee.
Right.
So that, I'm sure that drives up the price. Whereas if it's like your original own character, it's easier to price it lower, I think.
Yeah.
But do you feel, people said, oh, $750 for Hunters and Evolve is ridiculous because there's so few already, but Mortal Kombat, I feel like it's sort of like a catch-22. In theory, they should be cheaper because there's so many, but also in theory, because you all get so many, then it's okay to pay more for an extra. You know what I mean? Like, it's sort of a impossible...
Yeah, it's tricky
there's no
balance.
right or wrong here. Like, there's no right or wrong. It's all just, there's so many variables to each game, so many different games. The Arrow Pack with Lego Batman 3, that's some of my favorite DLC because I enjoy the show, and they got Steven Amell to do that voice, and the price wasn't that high.
Yeah.
So it was the right amount of content for me. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was $3.
Yeah.
So, Gabe, why do you think there's so much vitriol towards certain DLCs like Evolve versus Mortal Kombat, even if the pricing is similar or worse? Is it just because people like Mortal Kombat?
Because there's nothing there in the, like, I can speak to the Evolve one. Everybody, the consensus was there's just not enough here for $60. They sold you that game for $60, then they just want to shoehorn all the DLC here. Oh, buy these skins. Oh, buy this monster for $15. Oh, there's not enough characters here. Buy 4 more for $7.
It's just all perception, though, because we just established Mario Kart is selling DLC with less content.
No, because Mario Kart initially as a product, people weren't complaining about the value of Mario Kart.
But that's perception. That's not truth.
Well, but the fact is, perception is reality, right? Like, the way that people perceive the product is the way that it ends up being the truth. Like, that's the reality of the matter. The fact is, people felt like the value in Mario Kart is much more there in terms of the variety of karts. Again, it's kind of difficult to compare a racing game to a shooting game as it is. Fundamentally, they're very different, so it's hard to equate their value. But Mario Kart as it is felt to people like there was enough tracks, enough karts, enough variety of vehicles, enough cups, enough multiplayer that people felt like, okay, this felt like I spent, like I got the value of what I spent. Whereas with Evolve, people right away felt that the initial product that we got wasn't worth the $60. And then additionally to that, right away, you're starting to charge me for the cool characters, the characters that maybe if they flipped it where the characters that are DLC were in the game and the characters that are in the game were DLC, I think people would be a lot more maybe okay with it because at least the characters would have felt different. So I think that I think most people who played Evolve felt like it was 4 hunters and a monster and 2 monsters. That's it. That's the game. And if you ask most people, I think that's what they would tell you. It was 4 hunters and 2 monsters, and that's the entire game. So it's 6 characters.
I mean, there was 3, but yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but like,
but they still view it that way, and I guess that's what I'm getting at is like people. Mario Kart and Evolve stacked next to each other may have the same content, but because people instantly damned Evolve, like on my planet, Evolve could be super worth the value, and Mario Kart could be super not.
We all know, Zach, you live alone on that planet.
I'm just saying, like,
but here's the other thing. Leading up to the Evolve release, people at 2K saying we're building this to sell DLC. That rubs people the wrong way, and I don't think it's just a hatred for Evolve. I think people want Evolve to succeed, but 2K made the decision to go this
I think
route
a lot of it has also to do with established property and new IP. I think that's a huge factor.
I was about to say that, actually. Okay, let's say Battlefront. We don't know what Battlefront really is, but let's say Battlefront launched with, you get 2 classes, you get 4 maps, and that's it. And they sell you that for $60, and they want to sell you the rest of it parceled out for $10 for 2 new maps.
Happen.
People would not have that. It would go exactly the way Evolve went. Like, people aren't dumb.
No way. No chance it would go the same way.
Absolutely.
No way.
It would.
No.
It wouldn't.
No, it would on blogs, but sales would not reflect it.
It wouldn't do that bad because of the fact that it's Star Wars attached to it. So financially, it would do better. But
financially, but then people would still have the same outrage.
But to be fair, okay, let's put it this way. Right now, I think if you said to somebody right now, "Hey, we're gonna add another 2 hours and 4 bosses to Bloodborne for $10, do you really think people wouldn't buy that?"
People would buy it.
Exactly. Because people feel like it's more of the stuff that I love, and right away, like, I feel like the initial product was great, and I can get more of it with new boss fights, new characters that I could take on for $10, $15, maybe even $20. I'm sure they would do well. I think that it all depends on the original product. If the original product is good, people will buy the additional stuff because you have enough of a user base that says, hey, here's something that I really, really love, and I've been playing for many hours, or I love exploring this world, whatever it is. And now I could give them some more money for an additional feature or an additional benefit. I think people are more than inclined to do that.
But here's the thing. If Bloodborne launches, then it has 5 bosses. And only
exactly.
But again, how can you know? Okay, let's just say Bloodborne launches with 5 bosses, and then they
again,
release
we can't quantify it like specifically to numerics because
I know. I'm just going to make this up. I'm just making this up.
Okay.
Say Bloodborne launches with 5 bosses and sells you 1 boss, and people are like, "Damn, it feels like they cheaped us out." But they spent years getting those 5 bosses great. Or they make 30 bosses and sell you an extra boss, and no one cares. I just feel like it's so hard to say, "Oh, they cheated us out." And like, removing my attachment from games I like, my ultimate feeling on DLC is speak with your wallet. You already chose to buy the game, so that was on you. And now if you want the DLC or don't, whatever. Like, you don't have to buy it unless it's like, "Oh, we're now locking you out of the game. You can only play multiplayer if you buy this." If it's Fatality DLC, if it's extra story chapters, if it's a new character, like, who cares?
My fear, but then my fear becomes, exactly, right now, who cares? And that's, when it all boils down, I say the same thing. Who cares? I think it's a super slippery slope, and I don't want to ever get to the bottom of that slope.
But don't you think at that point there would be, if it's like, well, pay $5 for the next level of Halo?
I don't want to find out.
But wouldn't there be so much pushback at that point?
Yeah, I don't want to find out. I want us to never get there.
The problem would be, again, like I said, I think there's a fear of the future. Like I mentioned before, I think that's a lot of it is the fear of the future. And to be fair, I also think that there is, generally speaking, for some reason, there's this trend of where people, like, generally speaking, when you say DLC, they hate it.
Yeah.
I think that there has been good DLC. I think the Call of Duty DLC is good. I think Left Behind is good. I think the Mario Kart DLC is good. I think the Smash DLC is fair. I think that there has been DLC practices that we can look to and say, that's how you do it. There it is. It's well done. It's done properly. It doesn't feel like it's cheapening the game. It doesn't feel like in any way you're taking away from it. I think there's so many variables to account for on a person-per-person basis that it's hard to generally say, oh, DLC is good, or oh, DLC is bad.
And the one that stands out that's really shady is when Assassin's Creed, I don't remember if it was 2 or 3, they removed sequences from like the middle of the storyline and sold you those.
That.
So like, if you're gonna do the BioShock thing, Burial at Sea, it's a separate side story.
Yeah,
that's
there
cool.
You go. That's another.
If they start digging into the actual campaign, like imagine if Call of Duty was like, oh, your character got knocked out, but you don't know what happened to him for those levels coming, next fall.
Yeah,
that's a big problem.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what people I think are worried about, is that that's the potential of where we're going, especially because I think that people have been taught to expect something for $60. I think that we're taught, like, okay, look, if I'm getting a mobile game, I'm aware of the microtransactions, but I'm getting that game 99% of the time for free.
Right.
So I'm getting this, like, no matter how you feel about it, it does take time to build it, get all those art assets in there, and so on and so forth. So I'm getting something for free, and then if I want to play it at my rate, I can pay money to actually play it. more extensively or whatever it is, or buy new characters, unlock new characters, so on and so forth, or power-ups. But I can also just take a long time and play it out for free. That's a possibility as well.
Which is what I'm doing with Mortal Kombat.
When you're playing a MOBA, like League of Legends, it's free, and there's rotating champions. But guess what? If you want that one champion that you really, really like, you're gonna have to buy it. You're gonna have to.
And that model is so successful. I think that's where this conversation leads: is the feeling that going forward, majority of even console multiplayer only games are gonna all be free to play.
Could be.
And does that? They can possibly make much more money than $60. Counting on the heavy users and the heavy buyers, the whales of the market.
But you have to have a good game.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I think if Evolve was free, that game becomes a mainstay.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be really cool to see.
But it wasn't free.
If you have 6-7 multiplayer games releasing a year that you can dip your toes into and then buy skins or characters. Right now, that's like a mobile PC thing, like you said. But when that now apparently is going to start transitioning to the console space, I think it'll be really interesting to see how that shifts perspectives and also shifts business models. We've heard for years Call of Duty thinking about separating the multiplayer, from the single player. And if now, Evolve 2 is free to play, or if you get Battlefield 5 has free to play multiplayer,
and
it'll be really
with Call
interesting.
of Duty, they have started doing with Advanced Warfare those crates. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like CS:GO, right?
Sure.
So but
people eat that stuff up.
I know, exactly. People love it. So I think that they have been, maybe we haven't noticed, but they have been trying things, and they're like, okay, that's working, that's good. To the point where, let's say, next year, they're like, hey, we're going to release Call of Duty, the single-player mode. Here it is. It's going to be $20 or $30, and then the multiplayer is free. You get multiplayer for free, but you have to buy crates for weapon skins and different guns, and so on and so forth. So
I think the stopping point is really retail. And you look at Steam, how they lower the price to sell more units and end up making more money. If you can do that with like an online-only game that you're only giving to people via Xbox Live or PlayStation Network, now you can get much more creative, as opposed to if you have a boxed product, you can't really go sell a box for free and tell people to go, go home and
it's going to be interesting still because of the fact that I'm worried that if it's not too early, because we saw just 2 years ago the pushback against Xbox One being online only, and we saw how big of a pushback it was. So with that in mind, has these 2 years changed the marketplace enough to where somebody like 2K or EA or one of the big publishers can take such a big risk, and take $100 million game and just say it's free, and then we're going to monetize it through microtransactions? Maybe the answer is yes. Maybe the answer is no. I think that it's going to take a company to take that risk, because I think that, again, going back with Evolve, I think that I bet you that was a consideration, but they were like, oh, we can't do it. It's too expensive. So if we could just recoup as much as possible with the $60, that would be great.
The success of Smite on Xbox One will probably be used at least a little bit as a barometer for can you do a free game and still garner money. But you're absolutely right. Like taking, again, just making it up, say they're going to say Destiny 2 was free to play, and like that is such a huge risk, because you're sacrificing not a small budget on a mobile team, but a monstrous budget.
But you're sacrificing that entire AP, because as soon as something goes free, that's it. You can't next year be like, hey, it's $60 again, guys. Can you buy it, please?
Unless they start segmenting out, like if you remember, Battlefield did Battlefield Heroes. I don't know if either of you played that. Yeah. It was sort of a cartoony, like Pixar-style, free-to-play Battlefield. Very similar Battlefield mechanics, but it just looked...
It's shutting down.
Yeah.
In a couple of months.
So they could...
It's been around.
You could still have your mainstay. Halo 5 is, this, and then... I mean, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare has a... or is it Halo? Halo's doing a free-to-play thing in Russia, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
Sure. No.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw it, but it's only in Russia.
It's only in Russia. Advanced Warfare does the same thing in China, and so they're clearly using other territories to sort of
test,
guinea pig and see what people have a stomach for.
Yeah.
But as long as they're not, again, chunking out like obvious sections, if there's additional content, that's something that we, Gabe, you love Link to the Past. Imagine if you could have bought a DLC pack where Link, got to play 2 more dungeons. Like, you would have been all over that. And now we have that opportunity. So to instantly assume, oh, it's just been, cut out of the game, maybe look at it from the positive of now you have a chance to experience more of games that you love, where previously that never would have been possible.
Agreed. I never assumed that there were, like, sometimes I assume, like, if it's like, okay, we'll sell you this and a week later you can buy it, then sometimes, depending on the game, I might. But, like, Call of Duty, for instance, like, I think it's a well-known thing that they do leave off certain maps. And that's fine. I don't even have an issue with it necessarily.
But leave off versus plan, like, that's even a tricky gray line of, like, yeah, we're planning for this DLC, but could they have really finished it? Could they have...
Yeah, I mean, who knows? And we've beat this horse to death twice now, so we should move on. But
let's take our horses to Hype City.
Yeah, there's good DLC, there's bad DLC, and that's that.
No trains this week, folks. We've got horses heading to Hype City, galloping.
We're all riding Epina,
galloping towards future glory. Maxwell, what are you excited for this week?
I am excited. Well, for next week.
Yes,
I am excited for a game that I don't think we talked about at all, and that's State of Decay on the Xbox One.
Whoa. Okay. Cool.
Because I've been playing H1Z1 lately, and I don't know. Don't get me wrong. That game is not great. It's probably not even good. It's like average.
It is fun though.
Yeah, but it's fun. That's the thing. It's like, it's so much fun to just run around, and the battle royale and all that stuff. It's just a ton of fun, and it's hilarious. You usually end up, especially when you're playing it with buddies, it's definitely very much a social experience, indeed. But you can play it on your own as well, so that's fun too. And then because of that, I've been kind of on that type of kick, I guess. And State of Decay, I played it on the PC when it just came out. Like, oh, sorry, not on the PC, on the Xbox 360, I think. Yeah, sorry, that's what it was on the first time. And it was not great right away. It had some problems, let's put it that way. And that's really what took me out of it. But this version is a lot more polished. It's running at a better frame rate, like it's all remastered and stuff. I don't know how true it is, but apparently there was some sort of thing where when they remastered it, they found that there was penises all over the map or something like that.
What?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Because apparently there was like some resolution where initially they had painted like penis logos everywhere or something like that.
Lovely.
And then when they put it into high res, you could actually see all of them. So they had to go in and like remove all of them, which was... I don't know why it was there to begin with, but I guess the prank has come back to bite them in the behind. But I don't know. I'm just looking forward to playing another zombie game in this kind of style, and this is a more polished version of the previous one. It has an interesting management system of kind of how you accumulate survivors, and then it's your job to like maintain all of them and keep them alive and so on and so forth. So I'm just looking forward to checking it out again. And yeah, it's going to be a light week. So
I think State of Decay is like it's like a really great mid-tier game. Like, it fits that place so perfectly. It's got a great idea. I would love to see that kind of thing. A team management game or like a camp management game taken to like a AAA level. But for what it is, like State of Decay is it's really cool. So I'm excited to see what you guys think of it.
Do we have any other choice? I played the 360 version. There's nothing else coming out.
You can pick something far off if you want.
Now I'll go with State of Decay too, actually.
Right.
I mean,
you could pick Star Wars after the trailer.
I'm now looking at a screenshot supposedly from the game, and they supposedly say there's a tweet from one of the producers that says, "I'll answer this question in advance. Yes, the game looks like this." And then there's a quote saying DICE worked some serious magic to make this game look this good. And then someone asked what platform, and he said all of them. I will give you guys this link right now.
Yeah, I mean, now I just want to play State of Decay. Thank you, Max.
Yay.
And you guys will have impressions of that next week.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Sweet. My Hype City, I'm going to take to a little bit of a different place. I've been thinking a lot about Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare, how much that game was a standout for me last year. And we know that there's something coming from that team, and I'm just super excited to see whatever that may be. For me, if it was mobile, if it was console, I don't even care. Like, I think that is quickly become one of the most memorable universes. Like, it's incredible to me that PvZ is as well known as like Mario or Master Chief in most ways. Like, most people know those zombies so well. And I think that was a great game. We talk about DLC. Garden Warfare sold you a product that was a budget title game and then gave you all the packs for free and supported their game via microtransactions. That's something to think about as well. There's options where you may be by being okay with microtransactions, you may in fact be gaining a lot yourself. You know, you get those free packs to keep people playing, and it's just supported by coins or whatever currency. I'm all for that.
Yep.
So future game from that.
From PopCap.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
He's excited for a
whatever
future PopCap game.
Yeah,
of
whatever
some
that
kind.
game may be.
Who knows?
I would like for it to be, though, honestly, like I know you said it doesn't matter, but I would personally prefer for it to be a sequel to Garden Warfare.
Oh, yeah, that would be my preference.
We have gotten PvZ 2, and I don't know. I really would be, not that I would be disappointed, but maybe like just underwhelmed if it was just like another sequel to the traditional like PvZ games. I would want them to do either PvZ Garden Warfare 2 or something kind of like on that
taking
level.
the plants into a console type game. Yeah. The creativity with the classes there and how well it's still played as a shooter. Like if they introduce new classes or something, I would be going bonkers.
I got it.
Okay.
Game of the year. All right, so
Game of the year.
Battlefront, right? But instead of fighting Star Wars characters, you're fighting the PvZ zombies and the plants. There we go. So we mesh those two together.
All right.
You're riding around in this. I don't even know what you call those things that they ride in that game. Space motorcycle.
Speeder bikes.
Yes, whatever, man. And you're going around PvZ Battlefront mashup. There you go. Game of the year.
I mean, EA, they kind of leveraged that early on when they were teasing Garden Warfare. They showed like Medal of Honor with the plants. They showed Mass Effect the plants.
That was cool.
I think it would be hilarious if they did a Plants vs. Zombies like parody game where they just took all their properties and they're like, look, BioWare, we're going to put the plants in a Mass Effect mission, and, you know, we're going to put the plants in Medal of Honor, and we're like just, it was like a mashup, through the different ages of you know, games.
What if the Normandy was like a map, like, for this, like, play on the Normandy?
We've seen, I don't know if you've seen this, but the new golf game, which is now like PGA Tour with Rory McIlroy on the cover instead of Tiger Woods, it has a battlefield map as a level. Like, there's a giant...
the Levolution.
Yeah, I remember
so
that.
EA could get a little drunk and crazy at E3. You never know.
Cool.
But we do know that you have some great letters this week. Thank you guys for supplying us with questions, comments, concerns. Make sure to send yours in each and every week. Can't stop asking at gmail.com. We love to get them. This one comes from Grant. He says he's known as Ice DJ 3. Gabe, you may know him.
I know him. First I thought it was going to be Grant Morrison. I thought it was going to...
Yeah, Grant Morrison.
He writes in, and I'm just going to read it verbatim here. Hello, Cody, and Cody. Otherwise known as Hunter Jesus, Condiment Phobia, and Claw the Cat.
Okay.
He says, he's got some comments on his favorite characters. As good as the Zelda games are, I have to agree with Zach and Max that Link has very little personality. If you go by character, Tingle is a much better choice from that universe. Some of his favorite characters include Joel, Ellie, Drake, Yoshi, Mega Man, DK, but... his question is, since Max likes Kirby so much, what did you think of Kirby's Air Ride? He thought that game was awesome and wants to know your take.
I honestly don't think that there has, like, from my experience, I haven't played all the Kirby games yet, but I've never played a bad Kirby game.
So have you played Air Ride?
Yeah.
It's like the racing on the stars.
Yeah. I think that he's a character, like, he's literally almost like their experimental character. You know, where they're like, hey, we have this idea. Kirby! It's like they always call up Kirby.
Right back at you.
Right? Because they immediately... like, look, even with the Yoshi's Woolly World, that was a Kirby game first.
True.
Right? So...
he's their guinea pig.
Yeah, he is the character that they try out new things with. I think that he... like, some of the stuff they do in his games is the most interesting stuff. Like, I kind of almost wish that some of the things we see in Air Ride and in, goodness gracious, Rainbow Curse, is that what it was called? Mm-hmm. The newest one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, when they take those things and then, like, implement them in other worlds, like, as gameplay elements. Because the only thing I would ever say that, like, a negative sometimes is that there's only one mechanic for the game. I kind of wish that they would kind of like take elements from here, and then throw it into one big Kirby game.
For sure.
But there's a reason why I think Kirby games most of the time are actually a little bit lower than full price. Because
at least we still get Kirby games, man.
Yes.
We haven't had a Metroid game in forever.
Yeah, what is that about? One of their most prominent properties. They don't even use
it. I don't understand it.
I guess it just doesn't identify with people as much. Like,
people like it. It sells well.
I don't know.
I
not
just
well
don't
enough, obviously. Because honestly, just think about it from a financial standpoint. If it was that good,
they would do it.
Yeah, it's kind of silly. But then again, it is Nintendo. So
then just don't do Other M. Make a real Metroid game. But whatever.
I loved Other M. Did you not like Other M?
No.
Oh, I love that game.
Thank you for the question, Ice DJ.
J-Rod writes in and says, hey, CSP crew, on the last podcast, you guys talked about how games are changing through having your own experiences within the world with your custom characters. This is like part of our character discussion about making your own. He said that he's played 265 hours of Skyrim. All that time was spent on just 2 characters. I can't remember their names, I can't remember their races, but I do remember my experiences in Skyrim because I wasn't playing as Dovahkiin, I was Dovahkiin. I don't think that your experiences are meant to be with your own custom character, but rather as yourself. That's why I think people model their characters after themselves and say I rather than the character's name. P.S. I like mayonnaise, but ketchup doesn't appeal to me. I realized the other day I've never tried mustard. Let Gabe know that he isn't alone.
Yeah.
You can start a
boycott all condiments, guys. Let's keep that train going, by the way.
Liam writes in with an interesting question. He says, what is an unexplored setting or time period that you would love to see in a future game? P.S. I'm a big fan. Thanks, Liam.
That's a good question.
I've been wanting a very good Western game for a while.
But it's been explored. There was
Red Dead?
I mean, Red Dead and what else, really? Like Call of Juarez?
Call of Juarez. But I think it's one of those things, it's almost like a societal kind of thing. Like, remember how the Western used to be the main movie genre? Like, in the, I think, 60s or something like that. And then it just, it fell off the cliff, right? Like, nobody cared about Westerns at all. And then sometimes we kind of get like every now and then, like, 310 to Yuma or something like that. So I don't know that world is mass appeal, but I guess like what you said, it has been done. I'm not sure if there hasn't been like one setting that hasn't been done. Like we've had space, we've had, Bully.
Life is Strange.
Bully wasn't in college, was it?
Bully was
high school.
Bully's high school. So is Life is Strange, I guess.
So college, I want to go party in a video game, and I wanted to make moral choices.
Immoral choices.
College, no, I want to be moral.
I have two.
Really?
One is the setting that Prey 2 was going to be in, which is like super Mass Effect spacey, but like an actual shooter in that type thing, like more of an action shooter game in a very futuristic space type world, instead of just like the RPG Star Wars thing or the RPG Mass Effect, but like either a shooter or more
Battlefront is going to be kind of like that.
Yeah,
true. I guess I mean more of like a Dishonored in the future almost, or or like a BioShock in space type thing, pretty much. And the other one, go ahead.
No, I just said that could work.
Oh, okay. And the other one is like a hyper realistic game. So like you're an assassin like in New York City, like climbing buildings, and I mean I guess that would be like too close for comfort. But
Ubisoft is working on it.
Really,
I would assume.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying like a hyper, like kind of like you're saying with college, where like you do like walk through a crowded grocery store. Like it doesn't have to be a crowded old time, Roman street. Like
you want
like
something
Times
more
Square,
or like regular, like present day,
like Heavy Rain, but taken to a very blown out next gen sense almost.
I would want then for me, like I think that I can't think of any specific. Like I think Destiny. That's why I was so excited for it. Is kind of to do the whole like jungles and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
that would be sweet.
Yeah, like kind of like remember a few scenes from Killzone Shadow Fall, like how they had those like really cool, beautiful forests and stuff.
Yeah,
I would love to do something like that, but take it almost to like Avatar levels of nature, like where there's like weird, like
crazy stuff.
Like weird flowers and plants, and it's just like super crazy looking. So yeah, I'd want that. Basically, kind of like what Destiny could have been in a certain regard, like not so dark, but more crazy planets with weird vegetation and plants.
I think Avatar is the great thing. Like if you were a first person in Avatar world, like crawling through lush jungles, climbing mount, like Skyrim, but in Avatar land would be
that would
crazy
be awesome.
Cool.
I want Cabin in the Woods, the video game.
Oh God,
I want that. I'm dead serious.
Isn't
man.
that game? What's that game called that's coming out?
Well, that's Until Dawn, but that's more like a whistle.
Yeah, that's more like Friday the 13th and
Scream Friday the 13th.
It's more of a slasher.
I want Cabin in the Woods where you're like literally like in this like big cabin.
You want those last 10 minutes basically, or 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, throw all types of crazy stuff at me, man.
I wanted to highlight this letter because it comes from South Africa, which I thought was pretty cool that we have a listener in South Africa. And he says, "Dear Zach, Max, and Gabe, you guys are doing a fantastic job with the podcast. I wish you and your families good health. Keep staying awesome. Which game would you like to turn into a movie?" And we've touched on this before, but Hansi wrote in all the way from South Africa, so I wanted to make sure we gave him his moment.
Yeah, and thank you for all those well wishes, by the way. That was great.
Well, first of all, we don't have a very good track record. Some of them are being worked on, like World of Warcraft, Assassin's Creed, and
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear, Last of Us. That's true. So, which one would I want? I honestly think I would want another Naughty Dog project, and that's Uncharted. There was a rumor at one point that Seth Rogen, I think, was writing a script for an Uncharted film. And the reason for that is because I don't think, like... Well, first of all, now I guess we are going to be rumored to be getting another Indiana Jones soon. But I think the last one left like such a bad taste in everyone's mouth. Like, it still did very well financially, so people want that type of movie, you know, like exploring and kind of comedy-driven, like clumsy kind of explorer. So I think the Uncharted would be a very good transition. It's already cinematically built. The character has depth. If you pick like a really good, charming actor to play him, I think it's an easy kind of knock it out of the park mission. I don't really see that being a very difficult film to adapt. I mean, game to adapt into film.
I think we eventually get that. By the way,
yeah, I think
so. But the one I want, I know will never happen.
Okay,
I want Scarlett Johansson as Samus. That's what I want. I think a Metroid movie, like, you know, the creatures, you could do a really good job with the technology these days and with the space
it'd have to be a big budget film. Like, it would have to be.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Get Scarlett Johansson on there. You know, you're going to sell some tickets.
Well, look, Lucy did very well, right? So you never know.
That movie.
Nintendo, get on that. Yeah, regardless what you think about that movie, I didn't love it either, but. Man, I think Scarlett Johansson as Samus is a home run. Like, just picture the poster.
Well, it's got to happen pretty soon, though, because, you know, she's not going to be getting younger, so it's like...
Old Samus.
It has to be a pretty...
I don't know. I don't know how old she is, but she looks great for whatever age she is. I think.
My pick is a Pixar-directed Mushroom Kingdom film where you've got, you know, Mario, Luigi, Waluigi,
that would
be, like, going on an adventure.
Yeah, I just think him some personality and more personality.
I really liked Wreck-It Ralph, and I think if they did that in, like, a, you know...
full-on Nintendo land, that'd be cool.
That'd be pretty sweet.
That'd be very, very
cool. But then again, let's be honest, anything... Pixar taking any game project would be cool.
Cool, yeah.
All right. Pixar take Mortal Kombat.
I bet you they would do an awesome job with that too.
Yeah.
Little Pudgy Raiden fighting Pudgy Johnny Cage.
Pixar Hotline Miami.
Oh, Jesus.
No, never mind. No, not any game.
Our final letter of the day comes in from Kanan. And he writes, Dear Nintendo fanboy, Captain Claw, and Ketchup hater. It's got a lengthy letter, but I'm just going to let it sink in because I think it's an interesting thought.
Okay.
He says, first off, I'd like to congratulate you guys on the podcast. I listen to it every week and thoroughly enjoy listening to you guys talk in depth about the gaming universe. I wish I could join you guys because I often find myself pausing the podcast and voicing my own opinion on some things you discuss, even if it's just the air in front of my face. But that's not...
Hey, record yourself doing that.
That would be hilarious. I just imagine him like in a classroom or in a library. He's like, no!
I've done that too.
I disagree with you.
I've done that where I'm just
Of course Evolve DLC is overpriced, Zach.
But he says, forgive the tangent. Here's his question or comment. Recently, I've noticed that Call of Duty and Halo have been slowly transforming into the same game. I remember when Halo had one weapon loadout for everyone and you had to go around the map to get new weapons and armor abilities. Meanwhile, with Call of Duty, post-Modern Warfare, you could customize your loadout, sprint, get kill streaks. Now we have Halo Reach, 4, and soon to be 5 Guardians, where you can customize your own loadout, sprint, and get basically kill streaks. In Advanced Warfare, you now have armor abilities, which used to be exclusive to Halo. In both Advanced Warfare and Halo 5, you can leap into the air, jump over ledges, and ground slam to kill enemies. I know the attacks are slightly different, but the same idea applies. I'm not saying these changes are bad things. I think sprinting in Halo is positive, and I think extra maneuverability in Advanced Warfare does change the dynamics. My problem with some of these changes is that I feel like it's taking away from what used to make each of these games individual experiences. What are your opinions on this, and how long do you think it will be before both companies join forces to create Call of Halo? And in a broader sense, are games homogenizing too much in this day and age?
The Halo thing, I think it's just... It's not trying to copy Call of Duty per se, it's just trying to modernize itself because you need sprinting in a game these days. You need to be able to do the thrusts in the air for some reason, like in a competitive arena shooter. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we're ever going to get one without that. Because remember, it's not just Call of Duty. We also have Titanfall and we also have Battlefield. Like,
Titanfall was what changed it. Like, that was the game that kind of, I think, revolutionized shooters in terms of the fact that people aren't satisfied with how slow they used to be. So I don't know if that's a pattern of like what you said. I think it's more of an element of modernization or just like what people want now. People want that faster paced Twitch-like reflexy kind of shooter. Like people don't really want to do that hulking kind of like walking through slowly. They want to be able to be very mobile, agile, quickly moving around and so on and so forth. There's a reason why Black Ops 3 mentions that like, futuristic suit or something, whatever they did. Because they need to maintain that. Sorry?
No, finish your thought. I'm sorry.
Like, just have that kind of speed boosty thing. So I think it's just I don't know if it's the same element, because I feel like playing, like, Call of Duty and Halo, at least the last two iterations of each, like 4 and Advanced Warfare, they still play very differently. Like, I still approach playing them differently. Just the way, like, the amount of spraying that I have to do in Halo versus Call of Duty is different, in my opinion. I think Call of Duty is a little bit faster, but Halo is a little bit more kind of methodical, and, like, I plan more when I'm playing Halo, whereas Call of Duty is more instinctive.
And remember, Halo 5 is coming back to being an arena shooter, so you're not going to have like crazy big maps as much. But I wanted to go on a very quick tangent because you brought it up. How would you be opposed, or would you be for Titanfall 2 coming out this year? It's not happening. I don't think it is. But let's say EA said, "Hey, you're getting Titanfall 2 this year." How would you feel about that? And with a campaign and everything, would you just yay or nay?
Nay, for me, nay.
Okay,
absolutely, yay, 100%. I think Titanfall, the actual like moment-to-moment action was great. I just think all the surrounding execution was bad.
Yeah. So I would give it a yay too. I think that they would.
I wouldn't want to. I want to see a Titanfall 2. I just don't think that this soon is good, because this soon would mean that they haven't polished it enough yet. It'll just be another 0.75 version, whereas the first one felt 0.5. This will be 0.75, and I don't think they can mess up twice. They can afford to mess up.
Back to the Halo Call of Duty thing. I almost wonder if it's like, as two unique things iterate and iterate and iterate and iterate, if eventually they just come to sort of a convergence point, and that's sort of what we're seeing. I think it also is like this whole esports desire. You're now targeting the game, instead of on Xbox, original Xbox, you made Call of Duty and you made Halo. They were just trying to be like the best dang game they could to sell, and now you have so many more aspects, and you're catering to so many different specialized groups of people that I think that totally changes. But I do sort of get what he's saying in the sense that we have seen a lot of games adopt other games' things just because, like now we've got open world here, now we've got multiplayer here, and I do think that sort of the unique factor now has fallen to the indie space. We're seeing so many games adopt this complete package idea, and you're not getting as many just straight up linear stories or a very different kind of shooter. They all are kind of going to the same, because they're trying to cater to a very similar market, right? Like they're trying to sell to, if I can make a game like Call of Duty, maybe the guy who likes Call of Duty will like my game too.
Mm-hmm. But I almost feel like Halo and Call of Duty never overlapped. It was weird because they both have huge install bases, but I almost feel like the player that plays Halo is very different than the person that plays Call of Duty.
Yeah, absolutely different.
Where do you guys fall on that?
For me,
I prefer
probably Call of Duty. I don't know why. Like we said it last week as well. Like I don't know. I just never resonated with that world.
I like Halo single player and Call of Duty multiplayer. That's kind of where I
prefer both for Call of Duty.
Really? You didn't like Reach or For's campaign?
No. Yeah, Reach was the best one for sure.
ODST was the best one, I think, to me, in my opinion.
That's a good point. I did like that one too.
I really like 4. I know that's completely not what most people think, but I love the single player.
Again, man, you live on your own planet, buddy.
I do.
I don't know. I really like.
It's amazing.
Planet
Call of Duty,
Robo.
I enjoy the single player in Call of Duty all the time. Like as just like a big, like kind of like I enjoy, let's say, a Fast and Furious movie. Where it's crazy and over the top and.
But you enjoy the spectacle.
Yeah, but just it's so fun because it's like no game really takes it that far, except for Call of Duty. So it tries to be realistic, but it really isn't. So
well, thank you, Kanan, for writing in that very thoughtful.
What you said, Kano?
Yeah, Kano wrote this in from Otherworld or
from the Netherrealm,
or wherever the heck they existed. We are going to go back to the Netherrealm and play some games. Prepping for next week, we've got State of Decay. We're kind of entering a slow,
a bit of a lull. Yeah,
Mortal Kombat and Titan Souls kind of mark, and GTA 5 PC, I guess. Sort of now, it's like companies are in E3 prep mode, and so you're going to see. We've got Splatoon at the end of May. We've got
Yeah.
State of Decay this week. Life is Strange
Witcher
will
3?
continue on.
Witcher 3.
Witcher 3, yeah, that's approaching. I mean, I guess it's a month away,
Quick.
but it used to seem like it was ages, and now we officially know it's gold and going to make its date, which is great news.
Yeah, but the next 3 weeks, there really isn't anything big. I think, at least from what I remember, I think there's a golf game of some sort. I think Tropical or something like that, and that's it.
So if you guys are making any games, send them to us for us to play, and we'll keep the main event fresh and furious. We are planning a big May E3 blowout month, so stay tuned for that. And if there's no further thoughts from the crew, make sure to follow Max on Twitter, twitter.com/blitzwinger, follow Gabe, twitter.com/volatilegabe, me, twitter.com/ghostrobot, or just visit me on my planet, where we play Evolve all day and don't like GTA.
Those are the only requirements to be a resident of
exactly.
Planet Ghost.
It's got to play Evolve
It's a
all
very
day.
complex test. They're like, will you be playing Evolve all day? Yes.
Yeah.
Be careful with your answer.
You also
Okay.
have to buy every skin that comes out.
Yeah.
And make sure to check out the bonus episode we did last week on Daredevil. There will be a bonus episode this week as well. We are going to be talking all about Star Wars Battlefront once we see that. So if you were waiting for us to discuss it, don't worry. It is coming later in the week. And with that, guys and girls, we have a show. Can't Stop Playing is almost approaching double digits, and we super thank you guys for supporting it. It still is doing phenomenal. And I think you guys listening every week is one of the greatest feelings, knowing that people are excited for the podcast. They put it on their iPod for school. Hopefully not during school, but for
Hopefully on their iPhones.
Yeah.
I hope they upgraded.
yeah, whatever they put it on. It's just a really cool feeling for us, and we appreciate you guys. So thanks so much. Have a great week. We'll see you on the Battlefront bonus. And until next time, we'll see you all later.
And don't forget to boycott ketchup. 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 And don't forget to boycott ketchup.